Hello traders, good weekend and wonderful week. Vladimir here, and this is the weekly Forex review for the week to come, the last week of November, the beginning of December, the last month of 2016. I'm a bit cold, as you might hear by my voice, sorry for the voice, but still I would just want to go over all the things and make sure you have the idea of what we are going to trade, when and why. So let's start from the beginning. Let's go with the euro dollar pair we have been talking about also in the previous week with the weekly PDF. And here is what we have. We've had a move down on the euro dollar, which is, let's just remove the lines as it might be confusing, which seems that just starts to create the second false break. That was the first one. Now we have the second one. So what we need right now is to break above this high, pull back inside this range, and as long as this bottom will hold, we might be looking for possible push to the upside. There is still a gap that might be closed a bit above than 108, and that's basically what we might be trading. Let's take a look on the euro dollar in terms of the bottoms, and we can see that the euro dollar has a very good bottoms for the dates for the bottom, the 26, 28, pretty powerful dates. Now, if it will really hold this area and create a scenario as we discussed, we might be looking for the buys. If we push further from here, then the next important period will not be during this week, but will be 4, 6, 5, as you can see here, 8 and 7, right? That's also very powerful range for the bottoms. But we are here now, and this is what we are looking to trade. So I am back to this place, okay? And basically this is what we need. We need to go above this area, so like this, 2 waves down here, and from this area, as long as this bottom holds, we might be looking for the second push to the upside, which after we still look to go for a sell. Now there is another scenario that the euro dollar could move according to, as this weekend we have the non-farm payrolls to come, and I will talk about the news to come, because last week we had a very quiet week. As I called it, we have Thanksgiving week. The US traders are away mostly, and nothing really important happening. So after a quiet week, this week should be volatile as we have any news, and that could cause few scenarios. The second scenario for the euro dollar is that we had one false break here. We might get one more false break here and start to move inside this kind of a range, which after we might get another push down. But first of all, why do we look at all for a push down? Because we don't have any divergence, not on a daily chart, not on a weekly chart, not on a monthly chart yet. So basically, sell rallies was and will remain our plan for the long run. And on the short run, we will be looking to buy these rallies, but as long as we will get good risk reward. Pound dollar holding also the same range as for now. I still expect the pair to continue and make one more push further. We've had a beautiful move here, which started to move up after the 61.8 bounce. It's still there, it's still holding after these 2 waves, and basically the 38.2 of this cycle, which is here, is still a possible target for us. So we are after buys here as well. Watching on the 4-hour chart, when we are in a range here, we want to get out of that and look for these buys. Now, what another opportunity that could happen here, that we will get another buy opportunity from the bottom, so it could make something like this for us, and then start to build up this move. As long as the trend line holds, and as long as we remain basically above the supportive area from 123 to 122, we should be looking for the buy opportunities, which could pay very well. And as I explained, we have a beautiful second leg opportunity to the upside. And now let's talk about the other dollar pairs, dollar yen, which fly and keep through this resistance we've had around 111, 112. reach the 113 that we talked about. Let's take a look here where we stand. There is no divergence currently. Okay, only here it develops a potential divergence. So basically pullbacks would happen, but they should be pretty much small. Until when? Now we have 27, 29 powerful days. But basically we have 2nd, 4, 6, 5 on the next stop. So what I expect to see here would be something like that. Where from, I believe we would much deeper reaction. Don't get confused here, because I still want to look for the sell opportunities. We had 2 false breaks in a row. Okay, as you can see here, right? That was 1, that was 2nd, and we broke below this last low. So that's very, very good conditions to look for the sell opportunities. How? As long as the last high holds, this one, oh, sorry, where it disappeared here. As long as this one holds, right? That's the 2 waves it's building, and once it will be broken, we can try this sell opportunity. Now the question would be, how deep could that go? And on a 4-hour chart, we had a triple cycle here. We have a divergence, so we could theoretically go as low as to the 38.2 of this entire move, but that's very far. That's 109. Could that happen? The answer is yes, but I would be more like, let's say, 111.50 down to 110. I think that would be more than enough for us. So 2 waves that should be broken. We can try this sell opportunity. Go with this move, which after, I believe, we will see a reaction to the upside. Dollar Canadian is the next one we start to see going in a range again. Not really surprising, but still that's what we currently have. Doesn't matter how we turn it around, dollar Canadian is on a sell zone according to the weekly cycles. Now it's coming hand by hand with the daily chart. Now, as long as we are in a range, we can try to sell the tops, or alternatively buy the bottoms, as long as we are in a range. Break above the top could lead us for another push towards 137, 138, which again, where from I would expect a serious drop down. But as long as we are in a range and we are on the top of the range, as long as this top does hold, we might be trying some sell opportunities. How? We will need on the lower time frames, like 1-hour chart or 30 minutes, we will need false break, momentum will change that will create lower lows, retrace in 2, and a breakout. If it happens, we can sell again to the bottom of the range. Just remember the game of the risk reward here. The most important thing is a risk reward. If you can get a reward, it would be significantly bigger than the risk you take per the trade. That's a good one. Now I want to pay attention to the news we expect this week. Last week, as I said, was very, very, very quiet. But this week we start with a speech from Draghi. I want to remind you that within a week, Italy will vote as well. And everyone is looking forward to see what they will vote for. And a crazy year, like with Brexit and Trump to be elected, everything could happen. And if Italy vote for a party that supports to leave the Eurozone, you can imagine that it could renew the craziness around the Eurozone. And that could be another reason for us to go and sell the Euros if it actually makes the rallies. So it starts with a speech from Draghi. We have a speech from Paulus in Canada. We have GDP in the US on Tuesday. Consumer confidence as well. We have the financial stability report in New Zealand, speech from Wheeler in New Zealand as well, and then it's warming up. Bank stress test results in Britain, especially for the possible Brexit to happen. OPEC meetings, which could affect the Canadian pairs and the oil, of course. We have another speech from Draghi, ADP report, so it's pre-non-farm payrolls, GDP in Canada, and then it was actually going all the way to China, where it will publish It's manufacturing PMI and the casein manufacturing PMI, two very, very important events. And then, boom, voila, all the way to the non-farm payrolls in the US, which should be very, very important event. Why? Because it's not a secret that Trump wants to replace the Fed and its leader mainly. So if the news keep going good in the job market, the Fed, before it will leave, they might make a move and raise the rates. That's basically the expectation. And also the markets kind of begin that Trump will make dollar strong as per his promises. But that's a long story to go. We are here, we are now, and that's what we want to see in trade. And that's what we want to remember. So dollar CAD, that's the scenario. New Zealandian dollar, another pair that we are after sell rallies. We've had triple cycle up. We want to see double down at least, right? Now, here's kind of what's happening here without divergences, without a clear divergence at least. We are here on the 100, but this one took 25 candles while this one takes only 11. Therefore, there's a pretty good chance that from here we will continue for one more leg down and until we will rebuild some better divergence, some clearer serious divergence. And that's what makes me think we should be looking to sell rallies for the New Zealandian dollar. If we keep the rally, the very important day to come for rallies would be only the beginning of the next month, like by Friday, for example, and beginning of the next month, which would be next Monday, right? But for the bottoms, again, 28, 29 and 30, the end of the month, coming also as a good supportive area. And that's right now, the beginning of this week to happen. So as long as this bottom holds, we might be trying short-term buys. And after that, on the next week, go for sales. Now, if we take a look here on the 4-hour chart, we had two false breaks in a row, which we can summarize by an opportunity to get a range. Therefore, if we can get two waves down, as long as the bottom holds here, we might be trying this long. So we want something like that and try this long opportunity to here and maybe even higher to the next area around the 0.72. Now, we did have this pullback on the daily. We had this triple cycle on the 4-hour chart with divergence, so we can get basically all the way to the 50, which is again around the 0.72. Therefore, buy retraces is our plan for here as well. Another scenario to remember is a possible range, like with the euro dollar. Range is also corrective cycle, so it could start to move in something ugly like that before it will make the continuation down. So we pay attention to that. Anyway, we want to buy retraces. Aussie dollar should follow as well. It looks good, it behaves good, and so far is smelling good for a possible bullish scenario. Now here we also got a kind of triple cycle, maybe not the beautiful one, but still correct, and we still expect some kind of correction towards this area before the continuation, which we would like to go for a sell. Sell rallies from around 0.75, 0.76 zone if there will be bearish divergence. It brings me to the Aussie Kiwi, a pair that you know my view. I'm bullish for the long run here without any changes. Currently, the way it behaves, we are in an ugly range. This is the one I refer to, of course. So I can really say not the most beautiful one. And if we take a look on the daily, it even takes us further down. So what I want to see is we had triple cycle up. I want to see one more push lower and to look for possible buy opportunities for the longer run to go. My targets, and according to the weekly cycles, of course, and if we really pay attention to the big range, it means we can expect the 113 to be tested once again. So by bottoms, make a lot of sense. That's per this cross. And now let's talk about some crosses. Euro pound made a monster move, and it looks beautiful, and there are no reasons basically why we can't talk about even 08140 50 to close the gap before Brexit. So the plan was and remains sell rallies, but we didn't have any rallies here yet, so we did have few false breaks in a row. So what could happen, we need a break above a high like this, for example, then 2 waves down, and then and only then we can talk about possible buys. As long as it didn't happen, don't try to guess the bottom, because there is a pretty nice chance that the pair is making kind of triple cycle on like this. 1, 2, and now it's building a wedge, okay, and 3, all the way to this area, where from we would be buying massively. Okay, but as for now, sell it is, and we want to sell rallies, but we need to get a rally first of all to get a sell, and 2 waves, okay, which means if we get something like that with a break above this area, let's say, and then 2 down, we can expect the second leg, even trade it, and then look for the sells. Alternative scenario is that we are in a ranging area right now, so a false break out of this area could be also an opportunity to look and to trade down to 8140. That's definitely one to follow. Euro yen is the next pair, and it's also playing a very interesting role, because watching on a weekly chart, we still can talk about the 124 area. That's still possible, it's still doable, that still makes sense. On the daily chart, looking on this first move, followed by definitely not the most beautiful move, but still correct. We have these possible duplications on around 120 area, a bit higher maybe even. The divergence is not there on the daily chart, which means sells should be only as a short-term opportunity. On the 4-hour chart, we had this cycle bouncing us all the way to the 161.8, and we have this cycle taking us basically to the same, even a bit bigger than this. So this is a very massive area where I expected to go and to play inside. On a 1-hour chart, we can see also short-term triple cycle, 1, 2, 3, which again makes sense to try to sell as long as this top holds. Let's take a look on the numbers of statistics. We can see that end of the month 28 is a pretty powerful day for tops, and if not, then we go for the beginning of the next month, 2nd, 4th, 7th. Next week might be bearish. But for us, we are already after sales. Also, the predictor says that there are pretty good chances for sales. Watching on the 1-hour chart, we did have a convergence here, all right, which now is reflected by 2 waves movement like this. Break below that, and we can try this sell opportunity. Target number 1 should be the triple cycle 50%, therefore 119. Target number 2 could be a bit further and a bigger triple cycle from the 4-hour chart or double cycle, which is 117.70. Okay, where from, again, I believe we could talk about buy opportunities. CAD yen, another good yen pair to trade, no divergence to stop, so buy retraces, but on the short, sorry, that's on the long term, and on the short term we have tops. We don't have any actually this week tops, see, so we have more to go for the next week. So for us, buy retraces make a lot of sense. If we take a look on the 4-hour chart, we didn't have anything especially here. So if we can get second move down, like 2 waves down, we can try to buy. That's basically one of the only pairs that is still good to buy retraces during this week. It's a really nice opportunity. Until where? Well, the next important cycle, I just want to remind you, long time ago we spoke about this triple cycle which we need to effect. We are going to 90. So retraces should be considered as buy opportunities all the way to 90s. Now on the 1 hour chart, we need to be careful because we did have a false break. So we might get another false break and some kind of correction that could be like this, for example, false break and something like that. Okay, or by alternative, false break, and then to start and to move inside this small range and fly one more to the upside. Keep an eye on this one, also very interesting pair for sure. Gold and silver. Gold reached the level we wanted, that's around the 1170. It could continue further, but I would expect the gold to start and to make some kind of correction, especially after this triple cycle. We have the divergence on the 1 hour chart. We had a false break and higher highs, which gives us the expectation for some kind of continuation. I would expect it to make a corrective cycle later or sooner towards 1220, 1230 up to 1250, which make me think of buy opportunities. As per bottoms, we have 28 as a powerful bottom. That's for the week to start, and next week also very, very powerful days for bottom. So gold is not far from making this. Look for the buy opportunities, and we can also see here, to just find this template here, we have the gold and we have its, you see, buy action zone anywhere between 1160 to 1180, and on daily chart also these very, very, very powerful dates. See that? Very powerful numbers. That's very interesting opportunity. Silver should follow and should provide this opportunity for buys as well. We have two false breaks, so we need to go into these highs, two waves down, and possible reversal to the upside. And basically that would be all for from the Forex side. OZQ is another pair that I think we might be looking for the sell opportunities. I expect it to make two waves down, one more push down. For that, I want to see first of all two strong waves to the upside. We got one, and I want to see one more towards this area, where from I believe we can talk about resell. So I would say 101 towards 102, look for the resell opportunities for OZQ with the bearish divergence to form. Very, very important. In terms of S&P and the indices, they are very powerful after Trump's. It looks and feels like we are going to 2400 before any other things happen. But on the short term, we still can expect corrections due to the short-term cycles, and with daily chart bend to bend appear. We have still trend line from the tops. We have bearish divergence forcing it a bit. On the 4 hour chart, you can see it better. But we don't want just to sell, so what we need to get is false breaks, which we got already by the last week. But we need a false break and lower lows. Okay, two in a row, two false breaks in a row, and then we can talk about the correction. Before it happens, we have no reason to waste time. US oil also making its very nice move down. I expect that to complete itself now here. Around 45, maybe slightly lower, and start the reversal to the upside. Definitely looks like a good opportunity from my point of view, as I believe for the long run oil should make a second push to the upside. What could happen with the oil basically is it will make us one more deeper move down and not just the 44, 45, and will take us toward 40 or so for one more bottom of this range, but it's pretty far from now, so I would expect it first of all to bounce from here and then maybe like something like this. Okay, that's also a possibility, but anyway, 44, 45 from my point of view, it's a very good level to start to look for action. So that would be all for this week, friends. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave your feedback, your comment. It's always good to see if it was helpful for you. And if you have any question about any specific pair or anything you want to like to share, please do. If you feel like sharing that with anyone who you believe can have a benefit by watching that, feel free to do that as well. And I wish you a wonderful week, great trading, and thank you very much for your time watching this video. I'll see you soon. Yours, Vladimir Ribakov.